to start our last session of the day, and each one of us as teachers are involved in teaching, and when we teach, we need to determine the effectiveness of the teaching. And if we do that, it gives us an opportunity to improve upon those aspects which are not as per the requirement of the clientele system, or which are not as per the desires of that. So in this session, I'm going to focus on teaching effectiveness. I have few questions which are interspersed in the presentation. So let me begin by posing a question. How would you like to define teaching? आप टीचिंग को क्या समझते हो, क्या मतलब है टीचिंग का? So I would like to listen to the participants. Over to MCA department. Over to MCA department. What do we understand by the term teaching? Can I have few responses from the audience members? हाँ जी, MCA डिपार्टमेंट कोई तो बोलो. All of us are involved in teaching. So how would you like to define this term teaching? Participant अपने कितने हैं जी? MCA department. I'm able to see only 6 members right now.
क्या होगा?
क्या कोई?
How do?
Audio. जी बोलो sir. My question to the audience is, how would you like to define this term teaching? आप सारे कहते हैं ना, we are teachers and we teach. So what is teaching?
Teaching is basically an art in which you have to make concepts clear to the students.
Okay.
And with your teaching, he should be able to get employed, and he should also be responsible to the society at large.
Okay. Thank you very much. When you have said teaching is an art, is it only restricted to being art, or it's also a science where there are certain scientific principles which can be used?
Yes, I agree with you.
So, teaching is both an so we can modify what you have said, that teaching is both an art and a science where certain scientific principles from various disciplines can be applied. And very rightly you have said that we teach to facilitate learning among the students, and after learning they become employable and they are also able to contribute to the society. Any other member who would like to define teaching in his or in her own terms? Over to other members. Yes,
we
also
we also have to build a scientific temper inside the student, and able to excite the student to learn new things.
Very right.
That also.
Very right. So the purpose of teaching is to develop the scientific temper among the students and also motivate them for further learning. Fine. Any other member who would like to speak? कोई और participant कुछ कहना चाहेंगे आपके यहाँ से? Yes. Any other member who would like to? I'm seeing two ladies here. So, ma'am, would you like to define teaching? How do you view teaching? Yes. जी मैम
Teaching.
आजो आजो yes madam can I listen to you please हाँ जी अच्छा you have to
So,
get up and then say okay please go
yes.
ahead how do you like to define this term teaching
Good afternoon, ma'am. Teaching, I believe that teaching is a social process from which in which the students from the different sectors of society participate as a collective effort of the knowledge and understanding of teacher and a student. In which a teacher always put an endeavor to uh, out of the syllabus uh, and inculcates the basic learning, how to grasp the topic and how to increase the learning in the overall classroom, it make effective.
okay so I think you have very nicely put up that teaching involves students from cross section of the society and they collectively learn through sharing their experiences maybe the teacher and the student and the purpose is to maximize learning thank you very much may I know the name please
Madam,
Anji?
Madam Akhil Gupta.
Okay so ma'am can we listen to you now
Ma'am, teaching is to facilitate the knowledge to the students, where a teacher will be a facilitator who will provide the knowledge to all the students, where the students can clear their concepts.
Okay, thank you very much. And you have very rightly emphasized upon that the role of the teacher is that of facilitator rather than imparter of the knowledge, and it is facilitating learning rather than knowledge. So, friends, let's quickly, maybe I can pose the same question to the Electrical and Electronics Institute. Yes. Over to University Institute of Electrical and none. Do we have participants here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
जी जी कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे क्या होती है टीचिंग
It's a continuous process.
it's a continuous process of what right you are right when you say it's continuous process
Because, madam, let me add, because ultimately the student taught by the teachers has to serve the society at the final end. So the basic aim of the teacher is not to concentrate for the completion of the syllabus, but also educate the children of the imparted class that how they have to fulfill the objectives, how they have to fulfill the duties imparted to them as per the needs of the society time to time.
thank you very much for the additional comment which you have made and a caution which you have given to the teachers that the role of the teacher is not simply to complete the syllabus, but his role is much more widened and or is much more broader whereby he needs to educate the child, educate the student so that he can shoulder the responsibilities, he can contribute efficiently and effectively to the society. So,
Ma'am,
friends, in simple words, any
ma'am,
other member would like to voice the opinion?
yes, ma'am.
Hanji, please go
I'd
ahead.
like to add one more point.
Hmm.
Teaching is to develop the skills
Okay. Okay. So
as per the
teaching.
industry requirement.
Okay. So teaching doesn't only enhances knowledge, it also leads to development of skills as per the requirement of the context or the world of work.
Yes.
Now here before you is a very simple definition of teaching. Teaching is a face-to-face interaction between the teacher and the students to achieve certain predefined set of instructional objectives. So when we talk in terms of teaching, the situation in which we are, this is exactly when the student is sitting in the class and the teacher is teaching. There is one teacher, there are many students, and they interact in a face-to-face situation, and there are certain predefined, as we have seen, that when you go and teach a particular topic, there are certain definite specific objectives which you would like to achieve. And if you are able to achieve those objectives, then the purpose of teaching is fulfilled. The underlying words here are face-to-face interaction. So the teacher and students are in a face-to-face situation. They interact to achieve set objectives. And for cognitive objective, as we have been focusing yesterday, the cognitive objectives are at 6 levels. That is, level number 1 is remembering, where the student can reproduce the knowledge. Comprehending, that is where he understands the underlying concepts and terminology in a discipline. He is able to apply the learned rules in a new situation. Analyzing is when the person can uh, break down the whole into its constituent parts and then identify or locate problems, error, reasons, causes. That is ability to analyze. Evaluation is when the person is able to make a selection between the given two options, maybe methods, maybe techniques, maybe processes, maybe phenomena, and he's able to weigh the pros and cons of various things to make a decision and select the appropriate one. Or in other words, you can say evaluation is ability to determine the very worth of or merit of something. Then comes the highest level of learning, that is where the student has the ability to create, modify, adapt, design something new. So a teacher, when he is or she is interacting with the student, and he or she is trying to achieve objectives at 6 different levels. And now the question is, what are the 3 main phases in teaching? So over to MCA department. जब आप टीच करने जा रहे हो, क्या उससे पहले कुछ करते हो, उसके बाद कुछ करते हो? So what are the 3 phases in teaching process? Yes.
Ma'am, first we have to prepare the lecture very properly about for the teaching.
Okay.
And secondly, the concept should be clear to all the students so that the student can learn easily about that particular concept.
Okay. Or kuch?
At the end of the lecture, the student, we must take the feedbacks from the student, what they gain during that lecture.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other member who would like to speak about? When we take up the task of teaching, let me be more clear about the question. What kind of stages? Because you say teaching is a process, and process passes through certain stages. So what are those stages? Yesterday I had given you 4 stages. Any idea? Do you remember?
Uh, Ma'am, from the electrical department, electrical electronics,
Ji.
ma'am, it can be identifying the attributes,
Okay.
and then we have to inculcate basic knowledge and learning to measure.
No, ये आप purpose बोल रहे हो, inculcate knowledge. अब मैं पढ़ाने जा रही हूँ. I have been assigned a subject of electrical engineering, and I am going to teach a particular topic to my student. What kind of activities we normally undertake? जी, आपको एक टॉपिक दे दिया गया है, आपने पढ़ाना है. क्या आप किस तरह की एक्टिविटीज करते हो उस टॉपिक को पढ़ाने से पहले, उस टॉपिक को पढ़ाने के बाद?
पहले तो ऑब्जेक्टिव पता करना होगा कि क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव है पढ़ाने का.
ओके.
क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव पढ़ाने में क्या क्या पढ़ाना है.
ओके.
ऑब्जेक्टिव को अटेन करने के लिए क्या 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 प्रोसेस है और क्या क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है।
Okay.
फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर कोई अगर थ्योरम या लॉ बताना है बच्चों को तो उसको एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए मुझे क्या क्या चाहिए, प्रैक्टिकल कुछ डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन देना है उसके लिए, या सिर्फ थ्योरी से काम हो जाएगा। थ्योरी में भी पीपीटीज का यूज करना है या ब्लैक बोर्ड या व्हाइट बोर्ड से काम हो जाएगा हमारा।
Okay. So method और media की बात कर रहे हैं आप. So very aptly you have remarked that teaching passes through 3 different phases. One is pre-teaching phase or pre-interactive phase. When I say pre-interactive phase, it consists of planning and organizing. Planning a lesson, organizing the resources. I'll come to that, what is included in that. The second phase in teaching is interactive, where the teacher is in a face-to-face situation in the class and interacts with the students. And the third phase is referred to as post-interactive phase. Now let's see what happens prior to interactive stage in teaching. Here when I say pre-interactive, it includes all those activities which are used by the teacher or which the teacher undertakes to plan and organize for teaching. Very rightly said by my colleague that we need to first think of what is the topic or what is the skill or what is it that I am going to teach, and then what are the various constituent elements in that topic. Say for example, you have taken up say again you can talk in terms of IC engine. You are going to teach this topic. So before you go to the class, you go to the curriculum document, you find out what is the breadth and the scope of that particular topic which you are going to deal. Then you try to break down that topic into its constituent parts and then determine the sequence in which that topic is to be taught. Now when I say IC engine, that means I'm first going to tell them the concept, what is an IC engine. Then I am going to tell them what are the various parts of an IC engine, then what is the working principle, and then how the IC engine works. So maybe then I'm taking up the application. So I break down the topic into its constituent parts and each element is identified as per the breadth and scope determined in the syllabus for that particular subject, and then I determine the sequence in which that topic is to be taught. So that is in nutshell referred to as task analysis. इसी तरह when you are going for a practical class, you are trying to break down the skill into its constituent parts as I have discussed earlier. Then we rightly remarked that we must know why this particular topic is taught to the student. So we write instructional objectives, that is what a student will be able to do at the end of instruction. And now you are familiar with the 6 levels in the cognitive domain. So you are going to write whether he'll be able to define IC engine or whether he'll be able to enlist the various parts of IC engine, or whether the student will be able to state the working principle of IC engine, or whether the person would be able to explain the functioning of an IC engine. So what is it, or whether the student will be able to state the applications of IC engine. So, or take an example of that when you are teaching one subject called DC motors. So DC motors also would have something like parallel. DC motor, explain the concept of DC motor. Then the person should be able to state the part components of DC motor. functioning of the various parts of DC motor, then the working principle of DC motor, and then the working of DC motor, and state advantages, disadvantages of DC motor, and then applications of DC motor. So you are trying to write what a student will be able to do at the end of unit of instruction. If you are clear about the objectives, then you can select a path to reach or achieve those objectives. Say, if I am standing at present in sector 26, and I know that I have to go to sector 14, the Punjab University, I can select a path which is efficient, which is effective. But if I do not know where to reach and you ask me to go, my first question would be where to go, because the selection would be based upon the goal, the end point which I want to achieve. So likewise in teaching, the teacher must know what a student will be able to do at the end of unit of instruction, so as to select appropriate method and media for instruction. Now, when I say my students should be able to enlist the various parts of DC motor or IC engine, so what it tells me, that either I show them the real engine, real DC motor, then I show them the various parts of DC motor or IC engine, or I take a technical diagram of IC engine and DC motor, then explain and label the various parts of DC motor or IC engine. Or if I have to show the working principle, can it be demonstrated? Can I make a working model and then show the working principle of IC engine, and or can I simulate the working of IC engine and show them this is how the IC engine works? So it is giving me an idea which method, which media. Now, if I have to simply give information, lecture method is okay. But if I say I want my students to know the pros and cons of AC motor and DC motor, now a comparison is to be made because they have already studied one, then it gives me an idea that I can involve my student in a small group discussion where one, or maybe group discussion or maybe debate, where one group speaks in favor of AC motor, another group speaks in the favor of DC motor. And then we come out with the pros and cons of AC motor and DC motor. It also gives me an idea that if I have to state the applications, then I need to simply give applications, or can I show those various situations with the help of the media, that these are the situations where DC motors are used, these are the situations where IC engines are used, and so on. So the selection of method, the instructional method, whether you will prefer lecture method, you will go for case study, you will go for group discussion, you would like to have a seminar arranged for, or you would like to give a demonstration. If it is a skill learning, then demonstration becomes important, right? So method, then media. So media, you have a range of media. You can select from the printed material. You may like to give a handout. You may like to give a self-learning module to your student, or you may like to give an instructional sheet to your student. Or if your subject requires lot of practice, then maybe you are giving a tutorial sheet to your students so that they can practice on the numericals, on the chemical equation, on the derivations, on the problem solving, and so on. Then print material is one. Then you can use graphic material, the graphs, the diagrams, the flow diagrams, the process diagrams, etc. Then you can use the computer, this PowerPoint presentations, slides, and then you can use the videos. videos or educational films, like you want to show how IC engine is manufactured. So manufacturing agar mujhe padhani hai of the IC engine, maybe I have a clip of 20 minutes of an industry which shows how IC engines are manufactured. So maybe I show that clip and the students get the information within 20 minutes. So media, if I want to show through simulation the working of IC engine, then I must have that simulation with me, which I can use in the classroom. Then the teacher also tries to select the evaluation techniques. Evaluation, as Dr. Bedi has told you, that it can be formative, it can be summative. So when you are teaching your students, in the process itself, you ask questions. Those questions you ask to assure yourself that students have rightly understood. So formative evaluation, it may be through oral questioning, or you give a numerical. You have given, say you have solved one numerical. Now for practice you are giving another numerical to your student. The purpose is to what extent the students have understood the formula which can be applied, or the procedure to solve a particular problem. And on the basis of that, you can provide feedback to your students. And if none of them is able to solve, that means it gives me an indication that I need to teach that particular problem solving again to my student. So formative evaluation. Then summative is maybe at the end of the presentation, you give a quiz test to your student. So that becomes how much they have learned. Or you give an assignment which they will carry out at home and then submit. Or you give a problem, maybe 2 to 3 problems you give to the students and they solve and they submit those. Or you ask the student to make a presentation or a seminar on the same topic after a week's time. So that is also a part of summative evaluation. Or you take class test, or you take mid-semester test, or you take end semester test. All these are examples of summative evaluation. So you as a teacher decide before you go and teach a particular topic, how are you going to evaluate your student during the process and after the process. Then comes motivational technique. This is a major, I would say, challenge to all of us as teachers, that the students who are sitting in the classes, they are hardly motivated. A very few of them are intrinsically motivated to learn. So what a teacher needs to do, we cannot leave them as such. We have to create an environment by building the relevance of what we are teaching. First thing, build the relevance. How you build the relevance? By telling them if they learn this, what they'll be able to do. What will be the application of the topic you are going to teach? What kind of applications it has in the world of work. Then you can also build the relevance of the topic by telling the students how this particular topic would facilitate learning of other topics. How this topic is related to other subjects. What is the significance of learning the topic in the discipline as a whole? What will be its applications in day-to-day life? So you are telling the worth of a particular topic among the students, and this is one of the strategies, building relevance. Another is by building confidence. Building confidence would be that you need to build confidence by providing successful experiences to the learners. So you have to design that I am going to pose question. So the very first question which you pose to the students has to be easy, simple, so that student is able to answer. Then gradually you go on increasing the difficulty level of the questions. Another is, if you are teaching a skill, then lot of practice needs to be provided to build confidence. Or as I said earlier, if you are dealing with a subject which has numericals, problem solving, derivations, equations, again lot of practice would be needed by the student. So how are you going to generate activities in the class which are going to provide them practice so that their confidence is boosted? If the person is successful and then he has the practice and he is successful, he'll be motivated to learn that more. And then for building confidence, it is also important that a teacher tries to give feedback to the student. So close monitoring of the performance on the task and providing corrective feedback is another strategy which can be used to build confidence. And then when we talk in terms of motivation, another strategy which can be used is to generate satisfaction. That means you have set rules for the classroom interaction, you have set standards for performance, and all those rules are given to the students and uniformly applied to all the students. So there are no biases, no prejudices as far as the behavior of the teacher is concerned in dealing with the students. So set rules, and the rules are uniformly applied to all the members in the class. Another is that whatever objectives you have fixed for your lecture, those are achieved by the end of the unit of instruction. Say I go to the class, I'm going to cover 4 things. At the end of the class, I'm only able to cover 2 of those aspects. And my students, it generates dissatisfaction among my student that the teacher has given 4 aspects, but by the end she is only able to deal with 2 aspects. So another is, as a teacher, I become a role model for my student. It is also motivated. So what is happening, that once you are preparing, you are planning to deliver, you must be clear, am I going to tell them a story to motivate? Am I going to use a video to motivate? Am I going to give them a practical problem which they are unable to solve, and then I motivate them to learn a particular topic? Can I do that? Or can I motivate my students by showing some demonstration and posing why can they answer this question? Maybe I'm taking a very simple example. There is one dancing can, video is available. Now the person first takes an empty can, Coca-Cola can, and he tries to rotate. It doesn't rotate. Then he tries to fill in that can, 50%, half of that can is filled. Then he tries to rotate the can and the can rotates. So it is a dancing can. This is a video which is available. Then he poses the question why it happens. It's a question of center of gravity, because that center of gravity changes and the can is able to rotate, dance. So you can start by posing a quiz, by posing a problem, by narrating a story, by telling a quote, just to gain the attention of the learner. So gaining attention, building relevance, building confidence, or generating satisfaction. There are a number of strategies which can be used to motivate the student. So in the beginning, you decide what exactly you will be doing to arouse the motivational level and to sustain the motivational level. Even when you reward, give recognition, give pat on the back, even that is building the confidence of the person. So select. Then classroom management techniques. How are you going to manage your class? Because students will be, sometimes they'll be creating indiscipline, they'll be creating problems, maybe they are not able to pay concentration to what you are teaching. Then what will be your strategy to manage the class? Are you, say I have a class of 60. If I go on teaching there will be a section of the group which may create problem. So I think of activities which I can generate in small groups. So they work in small groups, then they make the presentation, then I supplement the information. So this is how I'm going to. Or maybe I have one leader who manages, help me in managing the class. Or you have 6 groups operating. So out of those 6 groups, one person will act as a leader for the group who will be responsible for ensuring the completion of the task, completion of exercises, or maybe whatever task you give to them. So you need to chalk out these classroom management techniques in the beginning. Then you also decide if a person comes late to the class, are you going to allow him? Are you going to continue with the class? Or if a person comes 20 minutes late, would you allow? Would you give attendance to that student or not? So if assignment is submitted on time or assignment is delayed, then what will be your action? So all those rules are to be specified. Then if you have decided on these, the teacher also needs to develop a lesson plan. Lesson plan simply refers to that you are going to say what are the topics you are going to teach, what are the objectives which you are going to achieve, and then what are the readiness objective, what previous knowledge, skills and attitudes the student should bring to the class which can facilitate the learning of a next topic, the topic at hand. Then you provide the structure, what will be my introduction, how am I going to achieve my objective 1, 2, 3, 4. So you are in brief, 1 page lesson plan you prepared where you give how the teacher is going to develop, what activities he'll be involved and what activities the students will be involved, what media will be used, how much time you will take to achieve objective 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. I'm not saying you are going to write the content in that. I'm saying only a blueprint is prepared how you are going to interact and achieve the objective. Then as per the plan, you procured the resources. Say you are going to class and you have said, okay, I'll be using a video film. So do you have the computer in this class? Do you have the LCD projector that you can screen that video film and everybody will be able to see? Do you have the audio system with you and you have the speakers with you so that student can listen to the audio? And then if you are going to use the whiteboard, whether the whiteboard is available in the class or not. So all those minor things which are needed for implementation of the blueprint that you will ensure. Then schedule for assignments and tests and etc. So based upon when the assignment you are giving, when they have to submit, so you have a plan in your mind. These are detailed activities which a teacher needs to take before he goes and interact with the students. So that's why it has been referred to as pre-interactive phase of teaching. The second stage, rightly said, is interactive phase, when you go and have interaction with your students. And here Gagne and Briggs, they have enlisted 9 events of instruction which can help you in achieving the objectives. And here you can see the very first activity the teacher needs to undertake when he or she enters into the classroom is gaining attention of the learner. The students might be sitting talking to each other, arranging their books or arranging the place where they would like to. So some hustle and bustle is going on in the classroom. The moment you enter, many of my colleagues are in the habit of exchanging the pleasantry. They say, good morning, friends. When you say good morning, the students automatically pay attention to you and say good morning. Or you say, listen to me. It's a verbal cue which you are giving to the students and they pay attention to. Or you are carrying a working model which you are going to use in the class in the beginning, the model itself draws attention. Or, as I said, for gaining attention, you start with the quote, you start with a story, you show a video clip, and something which is animated, which has the motion, would be able to draw attention of your student. Or you have the audio effect given to certain clip, or any simulation itself will draw the attention. Then comes arousing the motivation. So the strategies, that is building relevance of the topic which you are going to teach, that will actually arouse the motivational level of the learner. But you have to sustain the motivational level of the learner throughout the class, and you can use those number of strategies for sustaining the motivational level, that is generating satisfaction, building confidence, and again you go on building relevance in between also. Then stimulate recall of the prerequisite. So whatever you are going to deal, pose question with respect to what they already know. What they already know. Say, I took an example of IC engine. So the students are already familiar with engine. So I need not give them the definition. So I take the definition from my student. Or say, for example, the person is going to teach C++. The student already have the background of C. So you can start posing question related to C, then come and explain C++. How C++ differs from C and how it matches, that is similarity between C and C++, or the differences between C and C++. So starting point can be they are familiar with C, so you start from there, then take them to how that work is carried out in C++. Then my friend was referring to syntax and semantics. Semantics or syntax की बात कर रहे थे. So syntax में what is the difference between the two? How the coding varies between the two? So you can start, take up clues from there. Then present stimuli. That means whatever new information you need to present, you start explaining that information. And while you are explaining, you take into account number of principles. Then learning guidance. Learning guidance means tell them how they can remember the information. So आज भी आपको बोर्ड मास याद होगा, आज भी आपको विबगियर याद होगा, आज भी आपको जिस व्यक्ति ने कुछ रिदम बना दिया होगा फर्स्ट लेटर ऑफ द वर्ड यूज करके, निमोनिक्स, आपको आज भी याद है. So tell them, or maybe you put the information in table, in diagram, in on a animation पे दिखा सकते हो. अगर कुछ दिखा दो तो वो चीजें क्या है, remembrance में help करती हैं. So provide learning guidance. That means how they can remember the information, how the students can retain the information. जब आप examples देते हो, analogies देते हो, mnemonics का प्रयोग करते हो, then you are actually facilitating remembering on the part of the student. Then elicit performance. That means assure yourself of the understanding by the student by posing question, by giving them practice, and then once they have learned the material, assess the performance. अब जो मैं बात करी थी, rapid fire question round हम ले लेते हैं. So that is to what extent they are able to learn. Then promote retention and transfer. इसका simple meaning है that whatever they are learning in the classroom situation, they have to apply in the real life setting. So tell them where this knowledge will be applicable. Give examples from a wide variety of setting, or give them examples of the world of work where that law, where that theory, where that principle will be applicable. Along with it, you also tell them the situations where that principle, where that theory, where that knowledge will not be applicable, so that they are clear. These are the situations where the rule will be applicable. this is the condition or this is the situation where this rule will not work. So रिटेंशन के लिए आप क्या कर सकते हैं, पीरियोडिक रिव्यू. अभी मेरे कलीग्स बोलेंगे वी डोंट हैव टाइम टू कवर द सिलेबस एंड यू आर आस्किंग अस टू रिव्यू द सिलेबस. So I would say that once you have taught 2 to 3 topics, one class can be kept for clarifying the doubts of the student. Just one class you keep and you take up the questions from the students, answer those questions, clarify their doubts so that they understand what you have taught. Then comes post interactive phase. अब आपने पढ़ा लिया, अब पढ़ाने के बाद भी कुछ एक्टिविटीज हैं जो अ टीचर अंडरटेक्स एंड दोज इंक्लूड सबमिटिव इवैल्यूएशन. जो आपने असाइनमेंट दी उसको आपने चेक किया, जो आपने क्लास टेस्ट लिए उसमें आपने बच्चों की नॉलेज देखी, या आपने 2 दिन के बाद एक सरप्राइज टेस्ट दे दिया, that becomes a part of summative evaluation. Then along with it, it is not evaluation of students' performance which is important, but a teacher needs to do or take or obtain feedback from the student regarding his own teaching. So teaching effectiveness becomes important, and I'll come to that, how do we define that. And program evaluation or a course evaluation can also be taken up for bringing improvements in the program or the course. So the question arises, how do we define teaching effectiveness? Boliye. Anybody who would like to share his opinion? Yes, at the MCA, कोई बोलना चाहेगा? How would you like to define teaching effectiveness? Effective teaching किसको कहते हैं? जी, Any? आपस में डिस्कस करके बता दीजिए क्या होती है इफेक्टिव टीचिंग. यस, नो आंसर. मैम आ रहे हैं? ओके जी मैम.
Ma'am, for starting a new lecture, one need to summarize the old topic that has already been discussed in last lecture.
Yes, summarization is an aspect of effective teaching. But effective teaching से क्या समझते हैं हम?
And transfer of knowledge without any losses.
Okay. Okay, transfer of knowledge without losses from the teacher to the student. लेकिन जो knowledge ग्रहण करने के तरीके हैं वो सिर्फ टीचर ही नहीं है आज. There are many sources from where the student is getting the knowledge. लेकिन चलो, anybody from electrical and electronics? Yes, University Institute of Electrical and Electronics. हाँ जी, कोई कुछ कहना चाहेंगे? जी,
ये आंसर इलेक्ट्रिकल से ही था मैम.
अच्छा जी, sorry. चलो, when we say teaching effectiveness, while defining teaching, I have simply said that teaching is a face-to-face interaction between the teacher and the taught to achieve certain predefined set of instructional objectives. So effectiveness जो define की जाती है, कोई भी सिस्टम ले लीजिए, अगर कोई सिस्टम है वो अपने ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को अचीव कर पा रहा है या नहीं, अगर वो कर पा रहा है then we say the system is effective. So the same definition you apply to teaching, that the extent or degree to which instructional objectives have been achieved can be defined as teaching effectiveness. Or one of the persons said transfer of knowledge from one, just modify that statement and say if the teaching results in learning, then the teaching is effective. अगर बच्चा उस teaching से कुछ सीख लेता है and there is change in behavior, maybe knowledge, maybe skill, or maybe attitude, then we say the teaching has been effective. And when we talk in terms of teaching effectiveness, one of the way how what are the key behaviors of the teaching which contribute to effective teaching, one of the authors has enlisted 5. He says the lesson clarity, that means logical sequencing of the content matter, clear and audible delivery by the teacher. That is one component which leads to effective teaching. Another is instructional variety. That means variety of methods, variety of media, variety of activities. If you try to integrate into your teaching learning, that means you are able to cater to the individual differences among your students. So the variety which you bring in to the classroom, variety you bring in your explanation, that adds to effectiveness of teaching. Then task orientation. Task orientation means whatever the task is at hand, the topic, the instructional objective, you are concentrating on that, right? So task orientation, you are task oriented means you are trying to achieve the objectives which you have set for yourself. Student engagement. Here, most of our students, they remain passive. थ्रू आउट अ क्लास 50 मिनट की क्लास है, सिर्फ टीचर बोल के चला जाता है. But what is needed is the learning has to take place among the learners, among the students. So the students need to be actively engaged in the classroom. Only then the learning can be maximized. For that matter, कितना आप स्टूडेंट को एंगेज कर पाते हो थ्रू मीडिया, थ्रू एक्टिविटीज, through your tonal quality, through your delivery, explanation, examples, and so on. That is what we mean by, that is how much is the involvement of the learner in the teaching learning process. And primarily, you can ask students to group, pair think कर सकते हैं. दो students को सोचने के लिए बिठा दीजिए, काम करने के लिए बिठा दीजिए, या फिर ग्रुप कर दीजिए 4 to 6 students in a group. Or you can think of seminar, group discussions being organized in the class. You may give case study analysis in a group. So different activities can be generated. Then opportunities for success. That means opportunities for success means आप उनको इतनी practice दे देते हो कि they are able to achieve success, right? And he has also said that helping behavior related to effective teaching. The teachers can use helping behavior. What are these helping behavior? कि जब आप पढ़ा रहे हैं, आप सिर्फ जो आपको आता है वही explain नहीं कर रहे हैं. You are also listening to the views and opinions of your students, and you are trying to relate it to what you have to provide to them. So student ideas which they are expressing, or if they have any supplementary information, you acknowledge that and you try to use that for development of lesson. Then structure the lesson with advanced organizer. आप जो भी पढ़ाने जा रहे हैं उससे पहले advanced organizer means you give them an overview of the topic which they are going to learn, or use mental और and activity strategies. कोई उनका जैसे मैंने बोला था कि आप एक complex problem दे दीजिए, they are bound to think but they are not able to find solution to, and then they are motivated to learn that. Use both content and process questions. Content question क्या होता है? जैसे आपने कहा, मैंने कहा कि मैं पढ़ा रही हूँ आपको synchronous and asynchronous activities, है ना? So अब मैं पूछती हूँ आपको define synchronous, then define asynchronous, then I ask differentiate between synchronous and asynchronous or asynchronous activities, right? ये तो कंटेंट रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन है, लेकिन मैं उनसे ये पूछती हूँ कि जो आंसर आपने दिया है वो आंसर आपने कैसे आप इस आंसर पे पहुंचे, वो प्रोसेस है। जैसे आपने कौन बनेगा करोड़पति देखा होगा, देखा है ना? यू हैव सीन केबीसी? हेलो, आर यू देयर? कि है कि नहीं? कितने लोग केबीसी देखते हो? कौन बनेगा करोड़पति देखा है किसी ने कि नहीं देखा है? हाँ जी। आप जब वो स्टेटमेंट आती है, 4 ऑल्टरनेटिव्स आते हैं, देन यू माइट हैव कम अक्रॉस अ फ्यू पार्टिसिपेंट्स जो कि रीजन आउट करते हैं, ये आंसर नहीं हो सकता क्योंकि तब ये नहीं था, ये आंसर हो सकता है क्योंकि उस समय ये हुआ था. So people start giving reasoning. So when you know the process through which they reach a particular answer, that is what is said to be that is what is said to be the process question. So a teacher doesn't only ask content related question, but the teacher also poses the process related questions by which the other individuals can learn how to reach to the correct answer. So how to solve a particular problem. तो आप बच्चे से पूछते हैं आपने इसका आंसर कैसे दे दिया, how did you arrive at the right answer. So the person tells मैंने इस प्रॉब्लम में ये चीजें दी हुई हैं, ये चीज मिसिंग है, मेरे हिसाब से ये रूल इसके ऊपर एप्लीकेबल है. So he is sharing his thought processes with others. So जब आप ये thinking process आपका share करते हैं बच्चे, the other students learn from this kind of experience. Probe and elicit clarification. अब देखिए, आप जब एक आंसर लेते हो फिर उसके डीपर क्वेश्चन पूछिए to find out that he has rightly understood the question. और बच्चों से ये लीजिए कि उनको अगर कोई डाउट्स हैं उनके डाउट्स को क्लैरिफाई कीजिए. देन बी इन्वॉल्व्ड इन योर टीचिंग. अ टीचर नीड्स टू शो एंथुसियाज्म टू टीच. अगर मैं ही क्लास में जाती हूँ और मैं ढीली ढाली और आज मेरा पढ़ाने का मूड नहीं है और मैं जल्दी जल्दी सब कुछ खत्म करके आ जाती हूँ, या मैं कहती हूँ भाई ये ऑप्शन आपने क्यों ले लिया, इसका तो कोई फायदा ही नहीं पढ़ने का, I demotivate my student. So the role of the teacher is that you remain motivated and you depict or exhibit enthusiasm for teaching the subject which you are teaching, and your whole non-verbal communication should support that motivation and enthusiasm. और बच्चों के साथ एक रेपो बनाना. It is not that we have interaction only in the classroom. Even in the classroom, sometimes you ask journal question to begin your class. एक journal सा एक उनका माहौल बांधते हैं आप, so that you come nearer to your students. They understand you, you understand them. तो कभी lighter vein में humor भी create करते हैं हम class में, just to make sure that students are with us, right? Or informally we try to interact with our students so that they can share their academic and other problems and we can be of help. तो वो एक repo होता है where you respect each other and you trust each other, right? Then teaching effectiveness जब हम कहते हैं, these are 6 principles which have been enlisted कि कोई भी effective teaching है that will provide opportunities for experimentation to the student. It is a field, play field, where students play with the ideas, play with their imagination. हम क्या करते हैं, उनको बांध देते हैं, जितना मुझे पढ़ाना है, जितना मुझे आता है उतना. लेकिन अगर स्टूडेंट कोई आइडिया देता है, we immediately refute that idea. ये हो ही नहीं सकता भाई, उसने कोई आइडिया दिया है, उसको रैशनलाइज करने दो, एक्सप्लेन करने दो, experiment with that idea and then say whether that is accepted or refuted. And जो आपके learners हैं उनको ऐसी situations बहुत ज़्यादा मिलनी चाहिए, classroom में भी as well as in the laboratories. Then जो बच्चे हैं, they should be given real life problems so that they can solve those problems. तो अगर आप क्लास में डे टू डे प्रॉब्लम्स या इंडस्ट्री प्रॉब्लम्स को लेके कहाँ पे आपके रूल्स एप्लीकेबल है, कहाँ आपकी थियरी एप्लीकेबल है, कहाँ प्रिंसिपल एप्लीकेबल है, and you give them lot of practice, learning will be more. Then a warm accepting responses and genuine relation, that is again the rapport, able to provide rich stimulating variety of experiences and materials for exploration. So teacher is not only, our teaching is not restricted to the interaction which takes place in the class. आज आप अपना वीडियो रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर वेब पे डाल सकते हो, जितनी असाइनमेंट्स आपने दिए वो वेब पे डाल सकते हो, जो पावर पॉइंट आपने यूज किया वो वेब पे डाल सकते हो, supplementary material which you have used for preparation or which you think the students should read, आप उस मटेरियल को अपलोड कर सकते हो. आपने इंटरनेट पे जितनी इंटरनेट साइट्स एक्सेस की हैं वो आप बच्चों के साथ शेयर कर सकते हो, where you find very meaningful relevant material which is credible, मतलब जिसका आप credibility है कि आप you can depend upon that source, उससे आप उसको लिंक कर सकते हो. तो डोंट हेजिटेट टू शेयर ऑल योर रिसोर्सेज विद योर स्टूडेंट. दैट इज व्हाट. और अब मैं आऊंगी, एंगेजमेंट आपने बात कर ली है. लेट्स नाउ कम टू व्हाट आर सम ऑफ द डायमेंशंस. इसको मैं छोड़ रही हूँ बिकॉज दीज हैव बीन टेकन अप एट अर्लियर. लेट्स जस्ट लीव this. Let's, oh, sorry, बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स चल रहे हैं. इवेंट्स ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन की मैंने बात कर दी है कि अगर ये 9 इवेंट्स ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन आप इंश्योर कर देते हो अपनी टीचिंग में, तो आ रही हूँ मैं इसी पे आ रही हूँ. तो ये जो 9 इवेंट्स अगर आपकी टीचिंग में आ जाती है, चांसेस आर ग्रेटर दैट यू विल बी एबल टू अचीव द ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. मैं सिर्फ एक एग्जाम्पल ले रही हूँ, डायमेंशंस ऑफ इफेक्टिव टीचिंग which are based upon student evaluation of education quality. And here the person has said the very first dimension of effective teaching is learning. How much learning has taken place among the students. So when you put an item, clearly understood the concept, principles and theories of the subject, then learning is also where you generate learning to learn. That means the person would like to go deeper into the subject, that he indulges in independent studies, he goes to the library and acquires more information about the topic on his own. This is not requirement of the teaching, but you generate interest for learning that particular subject. That is also part of learning. Or he goes deeper into the subject is also what is the outcome of effective teaching. Then the second one is that effective teaching is one which is able to generate interaction between the teacher and the student and among the students. So there's a lot of interaction which is taking place. Teacher is posing the question, students are replying, students are posing the question, teacher is replying. You are giving them tasks in small groups, generating a lot of discussion and interaction among the students through tasks, activities, problem solving. So that is what is needed. जब interaction होती है, there is lot of peer learning which takes place. बच्चे एक दूसरे से ही सीख जाते हैं. So this is what effective teaching का एक और indicator है. Then a teacher who is able to establish rapport with the student. That means students are able to discuss academic problems, students are able to discuss their personal problems, and I would put a word of caution here personal problems which are under your preview, you can give guidance. But otherwise, don't indulge in giving advices. You refer the case to the practitioner. And individual rapport we can establish by remaining accessible to our students. तो क्या मैं क्लास के बाद भी, इंस्टीट्यूट के बाद भी अपने स्टूडेंट्स को accessible हूँ? Maybe on a phone, maybe through email, maybe through chat, maybe I'm available when I'm free from my classes, I'm available in my office and students can approach me. So approachability or accessibility, that's another part of individual rapport. जब आप मिलोगे ही नहीं तो rapport कहाँ से बनेगा? So once you spend time with your students, only then the rapport is established. Then the fourth dimension of effective teaching is we all evaluate. So whether we use variety of techniques of evaluation and whether those techniques are reliable and valid, whether the evaluation is objective, whether the same rules are followed for all, whether the feedback is provided by the teacher to the students, that is also part of your evaluation. So these are the aspects which come under the dimension of examination and grading. Then planning and organization. As we have seen, that is pre-interactive phase. So planning, if the teacher goes well prepared to the class, success is assured. If success कब assured होएगी? जब planning अच्छे से की गई है, delivery अच्छे से हो गई है. So planning and implementation go hand in hand. अगर planning आपकी appropriate थी, implementation excellent थी, chances of your success in teaching are 100%. अगर प्लानिंग आपकी इनअप्रोप्रिएट थी और आपने इम्प्लीमेंट उसको पुअर किया तो आपके फेलियर के चांसेस 100%. इन बिटवीन अगर प्लानिंग अच्छी थी, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन बुरी हो गई है तो क्या होएगा? प्रॉब्लम्स ही प्रॉब्लम्स आ जाएंगी, है ना? चांसेस. और अगर आपके प्लानिंग अच्छी नहीं थी पर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन बहुत अच्छी कर दी आपने, तो चांसेस ऑफ रुइन और रेस्क्यू ये 50-50% होता है. ठीक है. सो प्लान करना अपने कि मैंने क्या पढ़ाना, कैसे पढ़ाना, कौन सी मेथड, क्लैरिटी, सब्जेक्ट मैटर की नॉलेज होना, रिफ्रेश करना, करंट डेवलपमेंट्स को देखना, ये सारा प्लानिंग का कंपोनेंट आ जाएगा. ऑर्गेनाइजेशन मीन्स आपने प्रॉपर एक्टिविटीज, प्रॉपर टाइम एलोकेशन की टू द वेरियस एक्टिविटीज, टू एक्सरसाइजेज, टाइम मैनेजमेंट आपकी प्रॉपर है. देन रिसोर्सेज जो आपको चाहिए थे वो आपने ऑर्गेनाइज कर लिए. आपको पीपीटीज बनानी थी तो आपने अच्छे से पीपीटीज बनाई. आपने वीडियो दिखानी तो वीडियो के लिए वीडियो इक्विपमेंट इज अवेलेबल इन द क्लास. दैट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. देन कम्स द प्रेजेंटेशन. प्रेजेंटेशन, आज सुबह से आपने मुझे बहुत सारे पॉइंट्स दिए हैं प्रेजेंटेशन क्लैरिटी के लिए. So organization of the content, sequencing of the content, clarity of communication, verbal, non-verbal, integration of media, integration of exercises, use of examples. ये किसका पार्ट बन जाता है? These are all part of your presentation clarity. And clarification of doubts, opportunity for interaction, they are a part of your presentation clarity. Then comes next one is the teacher style of interacting. अब देखिए जो टीचर स्टाइल है वो अथॉरिटेरियन भी हो सकता है, वो डेमोक्रेटिक भी हो सकता है, वो लेज़ी फेयर भी हो सकता है. जैसे लीडरशिप के स्टाइल है, you can think of how a teacher delivers, how he interacts with the students, वो सारा कुछ मिला के how he explains, how he relates is a typical unique style of a teacher. We use same method, but each teacher uses a particular method of teaching in a different, in a unique manner. Lecture मैं भी देती हूँ, lecture आप भी देते हैं, lecture हमारी नाम की है जी मोनिका भी देती है, lecture और भी लोग देते हैं. लेकिन who is more effective will depend upon the style, the style of a person. So some styles are very unique. So आपका क्या style है of teaching? Do you create humor? Do you create relate subject? वो सब चीजें इसमें आपकी personality भी इसमें aspect बन जाती है. Then the enthusiasm. How enthusiastic are you to teach? Then workload and difficulty. आपका जो सब्जेक्ट आप पढ़ा रहे हो, क्या उसको आपने इतना डिफिकल्ट बना दिया है कि बच्चे को लगता है ये मैं नहीं कर सकता. सो ज्यादा भी नहीं डिफिकल्ट होना चाहिए, बनाना चाहिए, और ना ही ये जो सब्जेक्ट है वो बहुत आसान. सो अ सब्जेक्ट विच हैज अ मॉडरेट डिफिकल्टी विल मोटिवेट द स्टूडेंट टू लर्न. इसी तरह वर्कलोड की बात करते हैं. मैं रोज असाइनमेंट देती हूँ बच्चों को, इवन दैट विल नॉट बी एक्सेप्टेबल. या मैं कभी भी नहीं रहती हूँ, मैंने बहुत कम लोड रख दिया, सिर्फ सेमेस्टर में एक असाइनमेंट मैंने बच्चों को दे दी. अब बच्चों को मोटिवेट करने के लिए आई हैव टू गिव 2 to 3 असाइनमेंट्स एट डिफरेंट रेगुलर इंटरवल. सो वर्कलोड भी मॉडरेट होना चाहिए, डिफिकल्टी भी मॉडरेट होनी चाहिए. ओनली देन टीचिंग लर्निंग वुड बी enjoyed by the student. सो ये आपके 9 जो डायमेंशंस उसने दी हैं, these 9 dimensions you can generate set of items to take feedback from your students on these dimensions, and then you can score that, see on which dimension you have the highest rating. ये 5 point scale use किया जाता है normally, excellent to poor. So excellent को 5, very good को 4, good को 3, satisfactory को 2 और poor को 1. So you can have the rating done by your students. You can analyze the data yourself and then see on which components. हर जो आपका जैसे learning के नीचे 4 items है, 4 items का maximum score could be 20, minimum score could be 4. तो आपका जो भी स्कोर आता है उसको हम 4 से डिवाइड कर देते हैं, जितनी नंबर ऑफ आइटम्स है. दैट विल गिव यू द एवरेज रेटिंग ऑन दैट डायमेंशन. अगर आपकी 4 है और अगर आपके 30 स्टूडेंट्स ने आपको इवेल्युएट किया है तो 30 की आप एवरेज लेंगे. सो कितनों ने एक्सीलेंट दिया, कितनों ने वेरी गुड दिया, कितनों ने गुड दिया, कितनों ने. सो द होल वेटेड स्कोर डिवाइडेड बाय the number of students and the number of item will give you the average rating. अब क्वेश्चन आता है, who should evaluate? बताओ किसको evaluate करना चाहिए teaching effectiveness? Yes? Yes, a response from the audience.
Students will evaluate the teaching effectiveness.
Okay, students are the primary source which can provide the feedback to the student, to the teacher with respect to teaching effectiveness. लेकिन इसमें आप 2 तरह के आपके स्टूडेंट हो सकते हैं. एक तो वो हैं जो आपके पास पढ़ रहे हैं, दूसरे वो हो सकते हैं जो आपके पास पढ़ के जा चुके हैं. So the alumni can be a source of providing the feedback on the teaching effectiveness to the teacher. Then the second category of providing feedback regarding the teaching effectiveness is superiors. मैं आपके साथ शेयर करूंगी. One of the institutions, they have academic monitoring committee. वो academic monitoring committee is senior professors, means the senior most, like head of the department, and one maybe dean or maybe professor, and then there is one faculty member, and they sit in the class of the teacher. वो semester में 2-3 बार उनकी क्लास में बैठते हैं. पहले initially जब start होती हैं classes, they observe a class. The class also gets video recorded. And then on the basis of that video recording, the feedback is given to the teacher. So teaching effectiveness पे जो superiors हैं, they can also become a party. But एक ही caution का word है कि उसको punitive measures के लिए use नहीं करना. पनिशमेंट के लिए यूज नहीं करना, उसको इम्प्रूवमेंट के लिए यूज करना। उसमें ये बताना है कि आप में ये कौन सी चीजें जिन पे इम्प्रूवमेंट की जरूरत है। देन पीयर्स, आपके जो कलीग्स हैं, they can also be source of evaluation and providing feedback. तो अगर डिपार्टमेंट में आपके अच्छे कोलीग्स जो हैं, एक ये ओपन होना चाहिए सिस्टम, एनीबडी कैन कम एंड सिट इन द क्लास व्हेन यू आर टीचिंग द स्टूडेंट। हमारे यहाँ पे बिकॉज यू आर टीचिंग स्टूडेंट्स, अब जो बंदा वहाँ पे आपके बैठेगा वो इंटरवीन नहीं करेगा, वो बिल्कुल डिस्टर्ब नहीं करेगा क्लास को। ही इज ए नॉन पार्टिसिपेंट ऑब्जर्वर, वो सीधा बैठा है पीछे, सिर्फ सुन रहा है, अपने कमेंट्स वो लिख लेता है एंड बाद में आपको जाके आपको फीडबैक देता है कि तुम ये कर रहे थे, ये बहुत अच्छा था, ये कर रहे थे, ये नहीं अच्छा था, इसमें ये हो सकता है, ये एग्जाम्पल और दे दी जाती है एंड सो ऑन। हमारे यहाँ पे काफ़ी ओपन सिस्टम है, एनीबडी कैन कम एंड सिट इन द क्लास। और पहले हम लोग डिपार्टमेंट में काफ़ी फ्रैंकली we used to give feedback to each other. Maybe with passage of time there are few changes which have taken place. Self का मतलब है आप खुद भी अपने आप को इवैल्यूएट। देखिए, जब आप बहुत अच्छा पढ़ाते हैं ना, उस दिन बच्चे खुश हैं, आपका क्लास से निकलते ही आप यू हैव अ साई ऑफ आज बहुत अच्छी लगी क्लास, इट वाज अ वंडरफुल एक्सपीरियंस टुडे। आपका सेटिस्फेक्शन लेवल जो है वो एक आपको इंडिकेट है कि आज आपका लेक्चर अच्छा था या नहीं था, बिकॉज यू आर obtaining feedback from the facial expression, from the posture, gesture, then their participation in the class, and you can come out with whether you were successful or you were effective or you were not effective. So एक चीज है, और एक मैं ये बोल रही हूँ कि जैसे आज वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग आराम से हो जाती है, कभी अपनी वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग करिए, किसी अपने फ्रेंड को बोल दीजिए बैठ के, he can in your mobile only, one can record the whole session and then you sit back, evaluate that video recording and find out what are the strengths and weaknesses. Another is, आपको मेजर क्या मिलेगी जब सेल्फ करना है। देखिए, आपने एग्जाम दिया बच्चों का, सारे ही बच्चे 30 से नीचे हैं, 100 में से 30 से नीचे हैं। Now this is an indication to me as a teacher, भाई जो मैं पढ़ा रही हूँ कहीं ना कहीं उनको समझ नहीं आ रहा, I need to reflect back, मैं क्या करूं कि मेरे बच्चों को समझ आए। You analyze। अब देखिए, जैसे आपने टेस्ट दिया, क्लास टेस्ट दिया, and you find that one particular topic you have included one question but none of the students attempted that question. Even that give you a feedback. Maybe the students have not understood, maybe the students find this particular topic difficult, so you raise a question in the class, this particular question no student has attempted, will you please tell me why was the question difficult, or have you understood the topic? वहां से आपको फीडबैक मिलेगी। So try to take the corrective based on that feedback, right? So self, आप जैसे असाइनमेंट देते हैं, even that will give you information कि आप जो communicate करते हैं whether that is rightly understood by the student or not. तो self बच्चों से informally interact भी कीजिए कभी कभी। Maybe you have very good student in the class, then you have average student in the class, a student who is not good at studies. तो कभी कभी इन 3 डिफरेंट कैटेगरीज के बच्चों को इनफॉर्मली पूछिए, भाई आज क्लास कैसी, आज की क्लास में क्या और होना चाहिए था, या जो मैं पढ़ा रही हूँ आपको समझ। इनफॉर्मली you can interact with your students and then you can evaluate whether you have been doing a good job or not. तो बहुत सारी ऐसी अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं जो आपको मिलती हैं अपने आप को इवैल्यूएट करने के लिए। So make use of those opportunities. So I would say जो purposes teaching effectiveness जो purposes serve करेगी वो है मैं अपने आप को improve कर पाऊंगी। गुस्सा आता है जब लोग कहते हैं ना कि नहीं आज तो कुछ नहीं समझ आया, मैम को तो पढ़ाना नहीं आता, तो कई बार गुस्सा भी आता है अपने आप पे, बट इफ यू टेक इट इन योर स्ट्राइड एंड यू फाइंड आउट हाउ कैन आई इम्प्रूव अपॉन माई सेल्फ, देन उसमें मजा भी बहुत है। तो सेल्फ इम्प्रूवमेंट के चांसेस बहुत हो जाते हैं। आप डिसीजन भी ले सकते हैं बेस्ड अपॉन मैनेजमेंट जो है, नॉट आप बट मैनेजमेंट कैन टेक अ डिसीजन ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ टीचिंग इफेक्टिवनेस। स्टूडेंट सिलेक्शन ऑफ द कोर्सेज, अब देखिए जब आप रेटिंग कराते हैं किसी कोर्स की और कोर्स की रेटिंग बहुत हाई आती है, तो बच्चे को एक फैसिलिटी मिलती है कि ये टीचर की टीचिंग इफेक्टिवनेस ऑन अ 5 पॉइंट स्केल इज समथिंग 4.6 और 4.5, इसका मतलब है ये बहुत अच्छा पढ़ाती हैं या पढ़ाते हैं। सो द इट फैसिलिटेट्स द प्रोसेस ऑफ सिलेक्शन ऑफ कोर्सेज। तो कोर कोर्सेज में आपके पास चॉइस नहीं है, बट इलेक्टिव्स, ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट जो आप देते हैं, स्पेशलाइजेशंस जो आप ऑफर करते हैं, उसमें बच्चा कैन मेक अ डिसीजन। देन करिकुलम डेवलपमेंट, अगर कोई कोर्स सपोज कर लीजिए आप टीचिंग भी बहुत अच्छी करती हैं लेकिन फिर भी बच्चों के नंबर नहीं आ रहे हैं, सो मे बी समवेयर प्रॉब्लम इज देयर, सो यू नीड टू री एग्जामिन द करिकुलम ऑल्सो। देन क्राइटेरिया, अब देखिए इम्प्लिसिट भी हो सकता है, एक्सप्लिसिट भी हो सकता है। एक्सप्लिसिट आपने दिया हुआ है, उसके अंदर भी आपका कोई मंतव्य हो सकता है। प्रोसेस इवैल्यूएशन भी कर सकते हैं, जैसे प्रोसेस चल रहा है, मैं रोज पढ़ा रही हूँ, उसको मैं साथ साथ इवैल्यूएट कर सकती हूँ। प्रोडक्ट मीन्स मेरे स्टूडेंट्स के जो नंबर आ गए हैं, दैट कैन ऑल्सो एक्ट एज ए क्राइटेरिया। हालांकि होना नहीं चाहिए, बिकॉज द प्रोडक्ट इज ये सिर्फ मेरे पढ़ाने पे निर्भर नहीं करता, बच्चे की एबिलिटी पे, बच्चे के रिसोर्सेज पे, बच्चा कितना टाइम इंडिपेंडेंट स्टडी पे लगाता है, बच्चे की क्या लर्निंग स्टाइल है, बच्चा कितने लोगों के साथ कोलैबोरेट करता है टू लर्न, उन चीज़ों पे भी निर्भर करता है। घर में कितनी सपोर्ट, कितनी गाइडेंस उसको अवेलेबल है, उस पर भी निर्भर करता है। कुछ बच्चे ट्यूशन लेते हैं, सो द स्टूडेंट्स हु टेक द ट्यूशन, और एक नहीं ले पाता, उस पर भी निर्भर करता है। वैसे ट्यूशन की जरूरत नहीं पड़नी चाहिए इफ वी आर अ गुड टीचर। देन सोर्सेज आप देख सकते हैं, एलिमनी, कलीग्स, रिकॉर्ड्स। रिकॉर्ड्स क्यों मैंने लिखा, आपने पीपीटीज बनाई, आपने लेसन प्लान बनाए, आपने असाइनमेंट दी, आपने क्लास टेस्ट दिए, दे आर ऑल रिकॉर्ड्स विच आर अवेलेबल विच विल स्पीक वॉल्यूम अबाउट योर contribution to teaching. Then आपकी publication जो है may be based upon what you do in the institution. Then methods, rating करा सकते हैं, test ले सकते हैं, written appraisals होती हैं जो superiors लिखते हैं. So these are, so जब आप teaching effectiveness की बात करते हैं, not only student feedback, but you need to collect information and data from multiplicity of sources. कई बार ऐसा भी होता है जो बहुत अच्छा टीचर और स्ट्रिक्ट टीचर होता है, उसकी इवैल्यूएशन भी लो जाती है. So you cannot simply jump to the conclusion on the basis of the ratings by the student. तो आपको एक हार्ड टास्क मास्टर है ना जो, उसको भी कभी कभी रेटिंग लो मिल जाती है. So you need to collect information from multiplicity of sources. Fine. Then देखिए ये मैं एक मॉडल मैंने डेवलप किया था, which I would like to share with you, that all of us prepare plans for instruction. We organize the resources or develop the resources, ठीक है, और फिर मैं अपनी इंस्ट्रक्शनल प्लान को इम्प्लीमेंट करती हूँ एंड we have the student evaluation. अब जब मैं इम्प्लीमेंट कर रही हूँ इंस्ट्रक्शन को, I can take the feedback, student can evaluate the teaching effectiveness, monitoring committee, academic monitoring. एक information आपसे शेयर करना चाहूँगी, यहाँ पे हमारे इंस्टीट्यूट में डॉक्टर MP पुनिया, डायरेक्टर ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूट, हैज कॉन्स्टिट्यूटेड स्टूडेंट एकेडमिक मॉनिटरिंग कमिटी. उन स्टूडेंट एकेडमिक मॉनिटरिंग कमिटी का क्या काम है कि वो अपने डिपार्टमेंट में, उनका पूरा एक शेड्यूल बना हुआ है कि कौन सा सब्जेक्ट कब क्लास, इतने बजे ये वो, ठीक है, एंड टीचर्स, तो उन्होंने ये टास्क उनको दिया है कि बच्चे आप ये देखोगे कि आपकी क्लासेस एज पर द प्रोग्राम शेड्यूल जो आपके टाइम टेबल मिला है उसके अकॉर्डिंगली होती हैं. सारे टीचर क्लास में आके पढ़ाते हैं अपना, और कैसे पढ़ाते हैं, प्रॉब्लम्स क्या आ रही हैं, कैसे उनको सॉल्व किया जा सकता है, आपके सजेशंस क्या हैं फॉर इम्प्रूवमेंट. सो एकेडमिक मॉनिटरिंग कमिटी उन्होंने स्टूडेंट की भी बना दी है. So even that you can think of involving one of the meritorious students who is good in the academic monitoring, self-evaluation. So all these three can be clubbed together and the feedback can flow to the teacher. अब ये जो feedback आ रही है, इसके basis पे the academic monitoring committee can help the teacher to take correctives. आप खुद भी evolve करोगे, but you can discuss those corrective measures with your colleagues and the academic monitoring committee, and then finally you would like to bring changes in your instructional plans. आप अपने style में भी कुछ तब्दीली ला सकते हैं. It takes lot of time to bring changes, but if it's a gradual process, but if you are determined, you can bring changes in your teaching. So this is how one can, as a teacher, obtain feedback, analyze the feedback, take correctives, and improve the quality of teaching and learning. So thank you very much for participating in this session. I'm sure that we are now more clear about how teaching effectiveness can be gauged and how it should be done in any technical institution. But last word, use it for bringing improvement rather than using it for punishing people. Right? So any question from your side, friends? Yes?
Hello, ma'am.
जी
Ma'am, Indrapreet ma'am wanted to talk with you.
जी बोलिए.
Hello, ma'am.
हाँ जी, हेलो. हाँ जी,
Ma'am,
कैसे
I
हैं?
just ठीक हूँ ma'am.
हाँ
Ma'am, I just want to say, like you have just discussed about informal interaction with the students.
जी, जी.
Actually, we are at Chandigarh University. Try to implement this because this is a very effective system. So we have here the mentoring system also.
Fine.
So for every 20 students, we have allocate one mentor for them.
Right. Now, when you say mentoring, mentoring is primarily to solve or assist or provide guidance to the students, right?
It's,
So mentoring
yeah,
is to,
yeah.
हाँ जी.
It's just
Mentor
an
का यही
informal
काम है ना?
interaction.
Mentor informally interact करता है, take the
Yeah.
feedback, but here my question was teaching effectiveness पे. So teaching effectiveness पे, if you interact or the mentor gives you that information, fine.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
And any other thing you would like to share?
One thing, ma'am, more. Tomorrow there will be a panel discussion in the afternoon session.
जी जी जी.
Either from some industry expert is required for that, or
We
it's
are
just
not having a panel discussion. अच्छा, ये भी कर
like
सकते हैं.
like मेरा जो point of view था वो ये था कि जिस level पे हम लोग evaluate कर रहे हैं students को, क्या वो evaluation industry levels या industry need को fulfill कर रही है कि नहीं? क्या ये है उसमें उनके
चलो,
involvement?
ऐसा है. We can because there are only 2 centers right now. So
Okay.
if you all agree, then we can invite one industry expert. Both the centers can invite one industry expert, and
Okay.
that industry expert can speak for 15 minutes. So 15
Okay.
minutes will give to one expert, 15 to another. But request the industry personnel to speak for 15 minutes, right?
Okay.
So we will see. तो ये वही बन जाएगा expectations of industry from the technical graduates कि जो competencies वो expect कर रहे हैं, क्या वो हम बच्चों में develop कर पा रहे हैं या नहीं कर पा रहे हैं.
Very
So
sure.
we'll have discussion on that. So maybe the coordinators can be requested to arrange for the industry expert.
Okay.
कर पाएंगे?
Yeah, it's okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Morning
So what
confirm
I'll request the coordinators, अगर आप invite कर रहे हैं, तो pay the honorarium of ₹2,000 to the industry expert, so that you can pay, and that will be reimbursed by the institute. Fine?
Okay, ma'am. Fine.
हाँ जी. So,
Thank you.
any other question you would like to raise? Oh, I am so sorry. Time is up, yeah? Hanji, so I think if there are no more questions, so thank you very much for participating in today's deliberation, and see you tomorrow at 9:30 for the 4th day deliberation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for
Bye.
participation.